much of time, and we'll start with the presentation. The stage is already set for savolitinib. It is basically a Chinese study. So we are primarily looking at MET exon 14 skipping mutations, though there are multiple things, fusions and amplifications. So this is what is exon 14 skipping. Once more I would like to tell. So here what is happening, that exon 14 is completely skipped together due to the changes either in the intrinsic mutations or the fusion changes. So basically we are all aware that capmatinib is a potent drug, and it has a minimum IC50, and definitely capmatinib is one of the drug. Apart from this, the talk of tepotinib has already been delivered. So we are covering a third drug, which is savolitinib. So this is the study which was published in Lancet. So it's a multi-center study with patients from 32 centers across China, and it's a single arm phase 2 study. And eligible patients were 18 years or older with exon 14 skipping mutations. The most important thing is that this study focused on pulmonary sarcomatoid carcinoma. We know that pulmonary sarcomatoid carcinoma has a mutation rate of MET to the tune of 14%. So that is an important part, and this was not very well covered in other studies of capmatinib or tepotinib. However, this subgroup was very well covered in this study. That is the difference from other studies. So patients received either 600 or 400 milligram depending on the body weight. Weight more than 50, 600, weight less than 50, 400 milligram, and it was continued till progression or toxicities. Primary endpoint for any phase 2 study is usually objective response rate, and this was the similar here, and safety was evaluated. So 84 patients were screened. Finally 70 were enrolled into this study. 8 patients could not undergo the evaluation. 62 patients were evaluated. However, the data was analyzed in the entire intention to treat population of 70 patients. So median age of the patient was 68 years, and we see 81% patients were PS1. And if we see the histology of the patients, it is pulmonary sarcomatoid carcinoma in close to 36% of the patient, which is the important point to be noted. However, other histologies included 64% of other types, which included adenocarcinoma and some of squamous as well. So previous treatment, if we see, 40% had not received any previous systemic therapy for the advanced disease, while around 46% had received one line of treatment, and 2 or more lines of treatment were received by close to 14% of the patients. So this study is well balanced. Only 40% patients were treatment naive, while the rest had received some form of the treatment at the baseline. So if we see the overall response rates, confirmed partial response rates were the tune of 45%. And if we see the overall objective response rates, it was again to the tune of 35%, and disease control was close to 60%. So that is a point to be noted, that it is somewhat similar to the capmatinib and tepotinib study. So savolitinib also seems to be working well, and it is giving similar outcomes in the patients with exon 14 skipping mutations. If we see the median progression-free survival, it is close to 7 months in both investigator-assessed studies, and 1 month PFS was close to 32%. So this is the waterfall plot. The waterfall itself tells that the drug is working well, and most of the patients are having some responses. Only a very small handful of the patients, 2, 3, 4 patients, are having some progression at the baseline for that first. If we see the adverse effects are not much different from capmatinib or tepotinib. Most of the time it is peripheral edema up to 10% of the patients. AST-ALT elevation can be seen in around 20-25% of the patients. So to conclude, this is a study which enrolled the largest number of participants with MET exon 14 positive pulmonary sarcomatoid carcinoma. Overall response rates were close to the 43%, and it is similar to that of capmatinib and tepotinib, and it is efficacious in patients irrespective of the previous treatment, and most importantly, the response rate was similar in patients with brain mets as well. So with this, I conclude. Thanks. Greetings from Varanasi.
Thank you, Dr. Akhil, for the crisp presentation. Next